Welcome. Welcome to our social media. Today there is a topic I want us to discuss. If this happens to be your first time to come across this video, kindly subscribe. You can as well share and you can leave your comment there so that I can reply, or maybe I can look at it later. And for you to get a notification every time that we are in our social media, you can subscribe YouTube channel Revival Restore TV. You can as well follow us in Facebook, Rejesho Kofufio. And my technical team is advising me that currently we are live both in Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Today I want to talk about a very important topic, and that it concerns the secret of marriage and relationship. So the secret of having a good marriage and relationship. Why is it important we look at this topic? It is important to look at this topic of marriage because marriage is an institution that was started by God. And actually in all the communities, this is something that is practiced, marriage. So it's a very important thing for us to note. And before we get deeper into this topic of marriage and relationship, it is good to understand we have three types of love. We have three types of love. The first category of love is called eros. Now, when you talk about eros, I want to simplify this as quick as possible. When you talk about eros, this is a kind of love whereby you are attracted by the physical features of a person. That is eros. And most of the people who get into marriage, most of them, what they call love, it is eros. Because when you get married to someone, or when you get involved to someone, or you get into courtship with someone because of eros, and you have not looked at the types of loves that you are going to look, then it means that later on, there are things that you are going to discover because you are blinded by eros. So eros is whereby you are simply attracted to person, maybe because of the shape of the body, maybe because of the beard, if we are talking about our sisters, maybe because this person has good muscles. So when you get married to such kind of person, or when you get into a relationship with such kind of a person, that type of love is called eros. And this is what is exhibited in most of the operas, most of the music, most of the soap operas. They depict this one type of love, eros. Then we have another category of love. We shall come back to this type of love, eros. The other category of love is what we call philia. Now, when you talk about philia, this is now, it involves friendship. This is whereby you marry someone, but you have to understand that person is your good friend. So for you to have a good marriage and for you to have a good relationship, you need to marry your good friend. But you see, most of the people, because their mind, their subconscious mind, are always controlled by eros love. And when you talk about eros love, the first category of love that I spoke about, this is whereby sex is involved very much. Because we have two types of love. Adding to what we have discussed there, we have love in feeling and love in commitment. So when you talk about eros, this is love in feeling. And that is why you can find someone, maybe they meet for the very first time, and then someone say, I'm in love with you. That is eros. Because eros, you are controlled by emotion. Those people who have a side relationship, those people who are married and they have other relationship, they are controlled by eros. Because if it is eros, you are attracted by what you see, but that is love in feeling. It is not love in commitment. So when you talk about philia, this is love in commitment. So I'm saying this: if you want to have a good marriage or a good relationship that will lead to a good marriage, because of course you have to have a good relationship that is going to lead to a good marriage. And of course, if you have a bad relationship, it is going to lead to a bad marriage. So when you are controlled by eros, you cannot think outside the box, and that is why most of the people, they later come to learn about their spouse or about their partner maybe 5 years after marriage or 10 years after marriage, because they concentrated so much on eros. But now when we come to another category of love that we call philia, this is whereby now your spouse is your best friend. It's not about sex. So because marriage and the relationship is not about sex, because most of the people maybe they think that sex is the most important pillar in marriage. It's not, and that is why these people who get attracted because of eros love, when such thing happen, then they cannot continue to be in a friendship. So what am I saying here? I'm saying one secret: if you want to have a good marriage and if you want to have a good relationship, you have to marry your best friend. Don't be fooled by the eros type of love. You have to marry your good friend, because when you marry your good friend, you can share ideas, you can think in the same way, you can do things in the same way. But when you get married because of eros, because of love, it means if that sex is not there, there is no marriage. So I'm saying you need to balance all these types of love even before you go to agape. So it is important you marry your friend. Marry your friend. That is why I'm saying you have to marry your friend. Another secret: if you want to have a good marriage, the love must be mutual. And what do I mean here by saying mutual? I usually say, as a life coach, I usually tell people that marriage is a two-way traffic. So when I talk about love being mutual, you have to love me and I have to love you. It is a two-way traffic. But if one person loves the other and the other person doesn't love the other, that marriage can't go anywhere. So it is important for both parties to love each other. And note this, note this. Don't marry the person that you love. Don't marry the person that you love, but love the person that you marry. And it is important we understand about the secrets of marriage and relationship. And especially those who are in a relationship, it is good that you have come up, you have found this video, because I usually say that a broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. You know, marriage is a life commitment. You know, when you get a bad job, you can resign and get another job. When you get a bad house, you can go to another better house. I mean, other aspects of life, they have alternatives. But if you make a mistake in marriage, if you marry the wrong partner, you not only disservice yourself, but you disservice your children. What do I mean here? I'm saying this: if you are a lady and you get married to a wrong man, then it means that even your children are going to get wrong dad. If you are a man and you marry a wrong lady, then your children are going to get a wrong mother. So when you meet someone, before you get married, it is good to take some time so that you can be able to understand filial love. But unfortunately, most of the people, they are fooled by the first type of love that we spoke about, eros love. But it is important you understand the other aspect of your spouse or your fiancé. Another category of love is agape. And this is very important because when you talk about agape, this one involves spirituality. Because it is true that once you get married or you are in a relationship, expect life pressures. And when you get pressures about life, then this type of love called agape will sustain you. And that is why I usually say it is always good to marry a believer. Why am I saying this? Because if you don't have this type of love, agape, when things get tough, that is why you hear people separating, even divorcing after 15 years, even after 10 years. Because when they were getting married, or when someone was getting married to the other person doesn't have agape love. And that is why, for example, if something happens like let's say, for example, couples who are struggling to get children, if this type of love is not there, that is why you may find that one person is quitting, because eros is there, filial love is there, but now agape love is not there. They are not spiritually strong. So you are likely to find such person quitting. So it is important to look these three types of love when you want to get married, when you are looking for a spouse. Look for eros love. Most of people are fooled by this type of love. Look for that. Then go ahead, go further. Don't just start there on eros. Don't just stay there on physical attraction. No, go ahead and look for another type of love. Yeah, I can see people are tuned from various parts of the world. Kindly, there are those people who are joining us. If this is your first time to come across this video, I kindly request you to subscribe. You can as well share so that this message can reach as many people as possible. So another thing that you need to find agape love in that person. Marry a believer. Marry a person who can strengthen you in terms of spirituality. Because sometimes life is hard. Sometimes life is hard. That is why sometimes you hear people who are married, or maybe for quite some years, maybe someone was employed, maybe a man was employed, but when that job, when he lost the job, the wife disappeared. Why? Because there is no agape love. Because agape love is the one that helps you in times of life pressures. That is why you hear, for example, if one partner get a chronic disease such as cancer, the other party disappear. Why? Because there was no agape love. That is why someone may be married because maybe the person that was married to has wealth. But when that wealth disappears, there is no marriage. Why? Because there is no agape love. So these three types of love, they must work together. Eros must work together with filial love and must work together with agape love. I want to use this term as simple as possible because I want all of us to understand. Look here. The first category of love, we have said it is called eros. Eros, and you must be very careful with this type of love. Eros. This type of love has aided many people in problem. Because eros love is whereby most of the time It involves feeling, sex, physical attraction, eros, love. Then after eros, love, we have philia. Now, when you talk about philia love, this is whereby you get to understand the personality of the other person. And this is where you start to make friend. So in this type of love, there is friendship. In this type of love, you get to know the character, the aspiration of the other person, filial love. Then after that, we have another type of love called agape. Now this involves the relationship between one person and God. So these three types of love, they must work together. These three types of love, they must work together. Agape, eros, and philia. And I have said that because marriage is a two-way traffic, the other person need to give you back the same love that you give him or her. And that is why for those people who have mipango ya kando, why do we hear people who are married and they have side relationship? It is because when they were getting married, they concentrated on the first type of love, eros. So they thought for them to get married is all about sex. You see? But it is beyond that. It's beyond that. And that is why I'm saying for you to get a good marriage, you have to evaluate the three types of love. Don't just focus on one category of love. Don't just focus on eros. Don't just focus on the physical attraction of the person. You have to marry your best friend. You have to marry your good friend. You have to understand the attribute of the other person. Because I have said, you better make a mistake by buying a bad vehicle. For example, if you buy a bad car, you can always sell that car and you buy another one. Yeah. But now if you make a mistake of getting in a wrong marriage, it means you have no alternative. It's a life contract. You have just to continue. You have no otherwise. It's a life commitment. And that is why I have I want us to look at this issue of marriage and relationship. Because if you miss this, then your whole life is in a mess. If you miss this, your whole life is in a mess. Why? Because this is the person that you are going to live with him or her for the rest of your life. You see? So the seriousness that need to be taken in marriage. We need to give marriage the seriousness that it deserves. Marry your good friend. Let there be mutual love. And marry a believer. If you get those 3 points, just those 3 points, you have a very good marriage. And those who are in a relationship, please evaluate for. I know most of these people, and that is why if you hear, for example, a girl who is 16 years and she's saying, I am in love with so and so, that is eros. That is, and I have said that in love, we can divide love into 2 groups. Love in feeling and love in commitment. And when you hear a girl of 16 years old saying that she's in a madre in a love with another person or with a boy, that is eros. That young girl is driven by emotions and feelings. She has not evaluated the other aspect of love, commitment. Are you getting what I'm saying? And in the next video, we are going to come up with how do you identify the right person to marry. And that is why I'm saying it is good you click the notification bell so that anytime I upload those videos, you will be the first person to get a notification, and you can as well leave your comment there. You can leave in our Facebook page, in our YouTube channel. My technical team is telling me that we are live concurrently in those two channels, Facebook and YouTube. Our YouTube channel, for those who are in Facebook, it is called Revival Restore TV. Those who are in YouTube and you would like to follow us on Facebook, you can search Kurejesho kwa Ufufio. Kurejesho kwa Ufufio is a Kiswahili term that basically means revival restoration. So I believe that you are going to make the right decision before you get married to that person. Please consider the 3 types of love that we have discussed. Please don't be duped by Eros love, because we have the many unwanted pregnancies that we have, the many separations that we have, the many divorces that we have. It is because many people were duped by Eros love. They did not investigate other types of love in that person. So it is good to look all of them so that you don't make a mistake. You'd rather make a mistake anywhere in life, but you cannot afford to make a mistake in marriage. And you know, in marriage, it is not like other aspects of life. For example, for doctors, before you are given that certificate of practicing medicine, you have to undergo training, other training. Then after training, you get certificates. For teachers, before you can teach, you have to go through training. Then after training, you get certificate. For accountants, the same thing. You have to go through training. You have to undertake a certain course related to your area of specialization. But for marriage, you get certificate before the experience. And therefore, you cannot afford to make a mistake. That is why this video is very important. Because in marriage, you are given certificate, then you get into it. So certificate comes before the experience. You see? You would rather make any other mistake in the world. You would rather buy a piece of land in a place that is not strategically located. You would rather buy a vehicle that you did not intend, rather than marrying the wrong person. And those who are in marriage, those who are in a relationship, please note, don't marry the person that you love, but love the person that you marry. Don't forget to look the agape love in that person. Because, seriously speaking, there are pressures that comes in life. Marriages, sometimes they go through rocks and pressures. And at that time, what will sustain such a couple is agape love, is their relationship with God. At that time, it is not about sex. It's not about any other issue. It's about spirituality, having good foundation with God. So those who are in a relationship, because I can see people, many people who are commenting and who are also tuned on, there are many people who are asking questions. Kindly, you can leave your question there so that I can look at them, and maybe in the next video, I can be able to address the specific questions. But I'm saying this, please, 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 don't make a mistake in marriage. Look for the agape love. look also for the filial love. Don't only look for eros love. Don't be married to someone because he has nice beard, he has nice shape. What would happen if that thing disappear after marriage? Would you divorce? What would happen if you get married to that person and maybe you take a long time, a long period of time, maybe without having children, or maybe you get yourself in a chronic disease? Would that person live? Yes, if there is no agape love, he would live. So it's important we understand that marriage is important institution that was started by God. Thank you for your viewership. We shall continue. Kindly subscribe and share. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.